Hi, I'm Sarah Jane Siegfried from Lake City, and we've heard each candidate say something about livability, about housing affordability and livability agenda. Never defined livability, never really addressed livability at all. So it remains a question that the community really should decide. What is livability? Would you support a citywide process to come up with 5 or 6 measurable definitions of livability that we could then work together to achieve?
That sounds like a fabulous idea. Yes, I would support that. Thank you.
Nope, that's for the right.
Bob, my name is Tim Moulter. I'm representing Lake City Neighborhood Alliance. Sir, do you mind, who is sponsoring a petition, we'll give you a copy of that petition.
Thank you.
We are asking the Park District Board of Commissioners, who also are 9 city council people, to address a major deficiency in the 6-year spending plan for the Park District, which fails to provide adequate funding for aging park facilities. That was highlighted by a recent study that was done for community centers that identified 2 community centers to be replaced. There was not sufficient funds, so the consultant said nothing could be done for those. We have a solution. We are recommending that the current assessment of 27.5 cents per thousand be continued for the next 3 years of the funding cycle. If that is done, it will create $26 million that could be used to create a dedicated line item for aging park facilities. My question to you, you're elected as mayor, would you be willing to work with the current mayor and the city council people in making this change now rather than 3.5 years later?
Making a change, I thought you were asking to continue the 27.5 cents per thousand.
Yes, but they're unwilling to do that. It's actually, in order to do that, it becomes a request in order to maintain that.
I think that rather than to commit to extending another property tax, which is already ongoing right at this point, because it is contrary to what I'm asking for, which is a moratorium on regressive taxes until we can get our feet under us and figure out how the money is being spent. Let me give you a little background though, because the Parks Department, this is another one of those taxes that is brand new. We created a Metropolitan Parks taxing district that created a brand new 27.5 cents when it used to be funded out of the general fund, right? So that was one of the, yet another tax increase. They decided to take this entire general fund obligation out of the general fund and create a brand new tax to fund it, which is a good thing, but where did all this money go that was previously obligated out of the general fund to take care of the taxes? That's the question that needs to be raised. So I would say we should look at the general fund that was freed up by the removal of the parks obligation into a separate taxing district and see how that, where did that money go and what's it being used for? Yeah, please.
We had city council people who sponsored an education fund, which, you know, everybody supports that, doubling the housing thing, and by doing that, there's where your money went.
Yeah, and the roads, don't forget the roads one.
That's the problem, you can't go back.
No, we cannot go back, but there should be money that should be available. What I'm saying is look at the general fund to do that analysis.
We've got about 6 more people who want to talk, and we've got about 10 minutes, so let's keep the questions and the answers really brief. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Bob. I'm Steve Zemke. My question is one, why the candidates out there aren't in a sense of outrage as the citizens are, that we passed the Gross Management Act in the state about 30 years ago, and it said we could impose developer impact fees, development pay for development, not just take the profits from the city and leave it on the taxpayers of the city to pick up the cost for parks and need for more schools and for upgrading roads, etc. The same thing goes for the urban forestry developments, removing trees, but there's no requirement that they replace those trees in the tree canopy of the city. What exactly, you mentioned supporting impact fees, what priority is it for you in terms of this compared to the municipal bank, etc.? Because we really need some change here, and I don't hear most of these candidates out there speaking about what's really going on in the city.
1 minute answer, please.
we need to charge all of the above. There's 4 different areas that we can charge impact fees on, and development has impact on all those 4 areas, so we should be implementing those as soon as possible.
I mean, 80 cities around the state do it. We're just letting developers come here and put their costs on us.
Thank you.
Hello, Bob. My name is Pamela Stearns, and I'm the president of King County Native American Leadership Council. I'm also a member of the FAIR Coalition, Fair, Accessible, and Ready for Everyone. I wanted to just highlight 4 points here and then ask you a question. People with criminal records, around, those who've been incarcerated cannot get housing. Incarceration, lack of housing options affect people of color more than any others. People with housing and jobs are less likely to reoffend. And number 4, housing is a human right. As mayor, what would you do to address these issues?
So, in public housing, we get to set the standard. And there again, that's another solution, I think, to be able to provide housing for everybody that wants to live in Seattle. The council already passed the abandoned box deal that does not, we need to make sure that that doesn't go away, that it stays in there. That's my short answer. Public housing, we would get to say no discrimination in any way, shape, or form for past history on how we're going to allocate our housing. Does that sound good? Answer your question?
My name is Cindy Barker, City Neighborhood Council. So my question is about how you'll transition to an executive and administrative role. So departments have a lot of allegiance to their own agendas, and it's virtually impossible to change. They're very protective of their own fiefdoms. And they'll resist your policies, not on the surface, but they'll continue to plow their course. And it's heavily influenced by the lobbyists who can access them, and not only departments, but the commissions that run the city. So how do you think you'll be able to change this culture as the mayor?
So I've been through this once before. As I said, let me give you first a couple of things off my resume. So I do have a master's in public administration from the Evansville UW, but more important than that, I have actual track record history in reforming the 1.2 million member Teamsters Union nationally. And there are key lessons that were learned throughout that entire process on organizational transformation. But the first off is leadership has to provide a vision. And the people have to buy into this vision. But if you don't, thank you very much for your service. Wish you well in the future. You have to surround yourself with people who are the best administrators, but also share that vision and can help implement that vision at all levels. So when we're talking about flattening and streamlining, it's also about building a team, and the team has to include the people from the grassroots level. So, long answer to your...
Good luck firing some of those people.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Williamson from Wallingford, and I kind of have a 2-part question, but I'd like to support you because I like a lot of things that you're talking about, but I don't understand the bank concept. I don't think you can make me understand in a short answer. I think there's a lot of people where I am, I might like a lot of things you say, but I don't understand the bank, and I've heard negatives, from different people. So could you offer something else? For instance, getting rid of trolley cars that are still being built, saving money that way. How could you create funds if that's something you're not flexible on? I need to know about that.
If I'm not flexible on
Because you're
creating
using
the
it
bank.
as a way to create money for solutions, which
If it doesn't happen, what's plan B?
Right, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have difficulty making people understand that, because there's people that may wanna vote for you, but may not be able to because they don't understand, and they hear things like I have.
Okay, so let me take this opportunity to say a couple of things. First off, we're doing a municipal bank forum, an educational forum that is not campaign related, just for this purpose, to try and explain public banking to everybody. That is going to be Saturday, July 15th from 7 to 9 at the Evans School at the University of Washington. We have public banking experts who know how to message this in maybe ways that I'm not particularly the best at, so they will be coming in as well. But the second thing I want to point out is that I just got a budget proviso in the state operating budget that we passed last week to create a task force to make recommendations to the 2018 legislature on creating a public bank. So we're moving forward with this at the state level right now. To me, that's a huge victory to get that budget proviso. We're going to get it done, hopefully. So
how do people know how to get to what you just talked about on that page?
send me an email, bob@bobhasegawa.com.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Bob, thanks. I'm speaking asking for myself this time. Different hat, just a citizen of Seattle. It's August 5th, the primary's over and the results are in. And in the mayor's race, Nikita Oliver and Jamie Durkin make it through. What do? Are you going to endorse somebody?
Well, I would definitely endorse Nikita Oliver. I mean, there's no question about that. She and I are very much aligned on many policy issues. My MO though is, see, when we were in the reform movement with the Teamsters, people would say, "You're that dissatisfied with the Teamsters, why don't you just get out and start a new union?" And my response was, "That's my union, damn it. It got stolen from us and we're gonna fight to win it back." That's exactly how I feel about the Democratic Party right now.
Yes.
That's my party. It's been stolen from us by the corporatists, and damn it, we're gonna fight to get it back to what it's supposed to be as a voice for working families and marginalized communities, and not the privileged 1%. So that's why I don't go with the outside strategy. Mine is about plowing ahead. We've got the machine already. It's been stolen from us. We need to take it back.
Okay, another quick announcement. We have 2 more speakers. Technically, we should not let them speak. It would be time for your closing statement. Are you willing to take these 2 more quick answers?
Sure.
And then wrap into a very short closing? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So on behalf of myself, my family, and all of the young people here in Seattle, we know that displacement tears apart families and it tears apart communities, and it destroys young people's futures. So one of the main things is so many young kids are going into the criminal justice system, and I want to know your take on how you plan to dismantle the school-to-prison pipeline and what you plan to do about the youth detention center they're putting up there near Jackson, and what resources you want to provide for young people who become homeless because their families got pushed out of Seattle and their housing systems.
Thank you for that. So actually 40% of the young people that are on the street are LGBTQ. And we need to be sensitive to the needs of the different communities within the youth population that is on the street. So that is one definite issue that we have to deal with. But the other thing about it is, and you asked about the youth detention center down there, I'm in favor of juvenile justice reform and restorative justice options. So I don't believe that any child should be incarcerated unless they need to be protected either from themselves or causing harm to others. But that's a very small portion of the population that is actually physically dangerous. I think that we should repurpose that building to build a community center so that we can provide services rather than detention. So I would be in favor of building, but not as a jail for youth. I want to repurpose it to be a community center. There's so many good community organizations that want to do this restorative justice work that have no facilities or resources to be able to do that work. And the key, and this is one place where Hillary was right, it does take a village to raise that child, but the village has to have resources to be able to do that work, and I want the city to be able to provide those resources to do that work, to raise that child.
This is a growth, displacement, and philosophical question. Earlier you said, and you aren't the only candidate who said something like this, Seattle just has to make room for everybody who wants to be here. Do I understand you to believe that, and the corollary about public housing is that do we as a group of citizens have some obligation to fund housing for the everybody who wants to live here? And a bring it home example has to do with, in theory, we have a regional growth management strategy. But we also have a Bellevue-based company called Expedia that decided to move over to Seattle and bring with it literally up to 6,000 employees to occupy a corridor where we have insufficient transit, and the cost of building a new bridge across the Canal Valley is enormous. What obligation do we have to fund this level of growth, and do we really have a regional planning concept, and do we really have an obligation to anybody who decides they want to live in Seattle?
The answer to your question is yes, we do have. If you believe that housing is a human right, then yes, if you're going to live in Seattle, you deserve to be sheltered. That being said, you're right also that it is a regional problem. Seattle can't, actually, if you look at a lot of the areas, and I've seen some statistics where outlying areas are actually growing faster than the core areas, just that that's because poor people who can't afford to live here are moving into the suburbs. So what Seattle is doing is creating this 6-7 figure housing market and gentrifying everybody who used to be residents here out of the city. It does have to be a regional approach. And that's what I was talking about earlier, having those relationships with the Suburban Cities Association of Mayors and the Suburban Cities and their councils. Growing the economy that we're doing so well for the 1%, it's probably a good thing for the 1%, but it needs to be a good thing for the 99% as well, and that's not happening. And we have to take a more regional approach to how we're going to manage, like you gave the example of Expedia come over. Why did they come over to the area? Did they want to develop synergies with other high-tech communities? Well, that kind of makes sense.
Because they got a real estate deal.
Well, that's a bad deal for the people in the city.
Correct.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be in favor of that. But if I can see them wanting to move here for the synergies of getting, because when you build a critical mass of minds on particular subjects, it's easier to magnify the effects of the, how do you say that? They become more than the sum of their individual parts. And so I could see wanting to, in fact,
Senator Hasegawa, we're really out of time. It's way past time. Do you have a closing statement you'd like to make very briefly? Thank you.
I just wanted to apologize. I'm sorry if I brought a bunch of disruption that followed me to this meeting. But I do want to ask you all for your consideration and support in this upcoming mayor's race. I think that I am not just the most qualified person because I have the administrative and executive experience and proven track record, but with me, I think you get what you see. And my track record of all the things that I'm proud about of what I've done in the past is the fact that people think that I'm straight up and you always know where I'm coming from. No ulterior motives here. I am what I am. I've been a proponent of progressive, comprehensive tax reform since my first election in 2005. I've always talked about it, even in public on the Senate floor and in my district where it's hard to talk about those things because my district reaches out to Maple Valley from South Seattle. Always votes for the Iman initiatives. But the people believe in me so much, even though I'm out there on this stuff, that I got the highest re-election percentage of any contested senator last year. That speaks to, I think, the faith that people have in me, that even though they may not necessarily agree with my positions, which are totally Bernie, that whole platform, that at least they feel like they can trust me. So with that, I hope that you will consider giving me your endorsement and support, and look forward to working with you as your next mayor.
Dear Lobby,